Today, we're talking about something pretty incredible, the massive comeback of aerospace giant Embraer. And we're going to do it by looking at their landmark third quarter results. It's a heck of a story, and trust me, the numbers behind it are just wow. Okay, let's just jump right in with the first huge number, $2.004 billion. That's what they pulled in for revenue in just one quarter. I mean, that's an 18% jump from last year. And get this, it's the highest third quarter revenue they've ever had in company history. But wait, there's more. And this number, this is the one that really tells you where things are headed. $31.3 billion. That's their order backlog. Basically, it's a giant pile of guaranteed work for planes people have ordered but haven't gotten yet. And yep, that's an all-time high. And you know who noticed? Wall Street. S&P Global bumped up their credit rating to BBB. Now, if you're not a finance nerd, just think of it like your personal credit score. Getting an investment grade rating is like getting an 800. It tells all the big money players, hey, these guys are solid. It's a huge, huge vote of confidence. So yeah, these are not just figures on a screen. They are proof that a giant of the aerospace world is back, and back in a big way. So how'd they do it? Well, let's get into it.
All right, let's peel back the layers on this thing. What exactly made this quarter so, well, record-breaking?
Okay, so look at this. The performance is just stellar all around. You've got that record revenue we talked about, 62 new planes delivered, and a really solid 8.6% profit margin. But the number that really pops out to me, that free cash flow, over $300 million. That's just pure cash in the bank after everything's paid for. That's the kind of money that gives you options, big options. So you gotta ask, right? Where did all this growth come from? Was it just one division that hit a home run? The answer is no. This was a team effort across the whole company. And this chart really tells the story. The success wasn't just in one place. You've got executive, commercial, defense, and services, all four of their big divisions pulling their weight and then some. This is exactly what you want to see if you're looking for stable, long-term growth. No single point of failure. Okay, let's zoom in on the two biggest engines here. Commercial aviation, revenue just exploded, up 31%. Why? Because they delivered way more of those shiny new E2 jets. And then you have the defense division, surging 27%, mostly thanks to their workhorse KC-390 transport plane. And it's not like the other two were slacking off either. Executive aviation, that's their private jet business, actually had its best third quarter ever. And services and support, which is a super important, steady part of the business, grew by a very, very healthy 16%. It's the whole package, a really balanced, sustainable business. Okay, so a great quarter is fantastic. But that $31 billion backlog we mentioned at the start, that is the real story here. That number is basically a crystal ball for the company's future. And let me tell you, the future looks good. So what exactly is a backlog? Well, imagine you own the hottest restaurant in town and you're booked solid every single night for the next 5 years. That's kind of what this is for Embraer. It's guaranteed work. It means they know exactly what they'll be building and getting paid for a long, long time. And this giant backlog didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was fueled by a trio of absolutely massive, game-changing deals, all for their star player, the E95 E2 jet. First up, Avelo Airlines. We're talking a $4.4 billion deal, 50 planes confirmed with the option for 50 more. But here's the real kicker. This was the very first time a U.S. airline bought the E2. Cracking the U.S. market is a huge, huge deal, a major strategic win. Next on the list, a massive order from LATAM Airlines, another $2.1 billion in the bank. This deal is all about dominating their own backyard, connecting cities all over South America. It's about cementing their leadership position at home. And the third one, this one's really interesting. It's from a company called TrueNord. Now, they're a big player in aircraft leasing. And usually, these guys buy used planes from airlines. But this time, they went straight to the source, placing their first ever direct order, not just with Embraer, but with any manufacturer. That is like the ultimate stamp of approval. It says, we believe in this plane so much, we're buying it brand new. So when you have this much success, people notice. And Embraer got a huge stamp of approval, not just from the outside world, but from the inside too. And that external validation, it couldn't be clearer. We already talked about S&P upgrading them to BBB, right? Well, Fitch and Moody's also jumped on board, changing their outlook to positive. Look, when all three of the big rating agencies give you a thumbs up, it means the smart money is officially convinced. They're back. But maybe the most powerful statement of all came from the top. The CEO, Francisco Gomez Neto, basically said, and I'm quoting here, "The risk for the supply chain in 2025 is over. We have all the parts we need. Now, it's up to us." Wow, that's confidence. He's saying the excuses are gone, the roadblocks are cleared, it's all on us to deliver now. So, where do they go from here? The order book is packed, the supply chain is sorted. The runway ahead looks pretty clear, right? Well, first things first, they're staying the course. You might think after a quarter like this, they'd get cocky, but no, they just calmly reconfirmed their ambitious goals for the whole year. That tells you this wasn't some lucky shot in the dark. This was the plan, and they're executing it perfectly. But they're not just thinking about this year or next year. They're looking way down the road. And that future is called Embraer Mobility. This is their spinoff that's building basically electric flying taxis. And get this, Eve already has its own backlog of pre-orders worth a staggering $14 billion. We could see the first full-scale prototype take to the skies really, really soon. This is some next-level stuff. And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. For so long, the story around Embraer was about survival, about fighting for every single order. But now, has the game completely changed? With that massive order book and the supply chain locked down, maybe their biggest challenge isn't winning new business anymore. Maybe it's just building the planes fast enough to keep up with their own success. That's what you call a high-class problem.